Hi friends. Uh, First of all, I would like to tell you that I have changed the channel name simply because some of you suggested to give a better name. Even some of you told me that when you were searching for the channel over there, you are not getting because so many channels are there by that same name. So I have changed the name of the channel for your kind information. Uh, know that now the channel name will be technically Biswa. Yeah. So now when you search, of course, I'll be sending you the link. But if you search for the channel directly, search for technically Biswa. All right. Now, coming down to these three videos, first three videos, please bear with me because I right now I am not using a mic, because of which you might get a bit of disturbance, sound disturbance. So please bear with it. Within 2 3 days, the setup will be ready. Then we can have a board also on which I'll explain you things. And apart from that, of course, there will be no noise, background noise, which is very distracting. I understand that it is distracting. So now coming down to what exactly we'll be looking at. See, I decided I'll start with basics. Then I go deep into, I got so many suggestions, and once again, thank you so much for all your suggestions. Thank you. It was really, really overwhelming. So many suggestions, so many of you called me up, told me this has to be done this way, you need to do it. So thank you all. And I'll always appreciate that help from you. You please come down with your suggestions, come up with your suggestions, tell me what extra I can do, how these extra features and facilities we can be using, because all of you, some of you are there in the industry, and you all know better than me, much better than me, how to use these all means, because we have been teaching in a classroom for so many days. All right. So now getting used to this kind of an environment. Okay, it's a bit it takes a bit of time. So now coming down to the coverage part, as I said, I'll be starting with basics. Of course, my focus 80% of the time, my focus will be on programming and programming languages. 20% of the time I'll look at other things, other areas. As I told you yesterday in that impromptu video, I said we'll be picking up other topics also, not that only programming languages. Now I'll tell you, within the last maybe 6 8 months, when I was I was operating from home all this time, I had a chance to interact with some of you who are across working across companies, like TCS, Infi, Capgemini. I saw one thing. I when I interacted with them, they told me they are coming across. In the first part, they are coming across the basics. They are learning the languages. Apart from that, somewhere down the line, maybe after 1 or 2 years, again a particular project comes up where they need to look at supposing C++, STL, standard template library. Now, the knowledge of standard template library is very, very important. Very, very important. Let me tell you. Okay. Maybe some of us are already domain oriented. We are working in a particular domain like Java, like maybe .NET, the platform. All right. But still then, let me tell you one thing. Learning these things from, the back, recalling them, recapping them, getting familiar to them once again, it's simply, I'll tell you, it will be very useful for you in future. So now what I have decided is, you suggest, I'm telling you how I will cover it. You please give me suggestions by the evening. Okay. Try to your suggestions are really, really helpful for me. So please come up with your suggestions. What I've decided is I'll start with pointers. All right, pointers. I'll take a look at pointers. I'll go a bit deep into pointers. I'll tell you how to use pointers. We have already means if you are my student, you have already we have already done it in the classroom. But again, we'll do it. We'll look at pointers from the beginning. Then we go deep into pointer, like pointers using arrays, pointers using functions, pointers using files. All these things I'll discuss with you. As I said, through a board also, through some illustration also, through examples. Then later on, when pointers are finished, I'll take you into file handling, file IO rather to say. File IO, I'll cover file IO for C language first because that is very basic. Need to know file IO. As I said, I have come across one or two companies where the training period, they are learning file IO. They are learning how to handle files. They are learning how to handle different types of files uh, like that. So that is the reason I'll take up file handling. Uh, After file handling is completed, I'll take you into some extra things in C, like although these are things which are sometimes used, but still then useful. I'll take you to I'll take you through macros. Macros are useful, if you remember, has defined. Okay, as a statement you could remember, has defined. Now these all macros, they're really useful in case of programming. In case of what do you say? You can say develop in a development environment when you are trusted with this responsibility of writing a program with big program, maybe a 200 lines program, where you need to cut down on repetitions, have a efficient program, have a very efficient program. Their macros are helpful. So macros are take up a few things here and there in C which are useful, which are really important, that I'll take up. Once I finish with them, I'll take it into C++, because in C++, maybe when I came across my classrooms for the last 12, 14 years, especially engineering students, so C++ very few know. The reason C++ is maybe not there in the curriculum. Once they learn a bit of C, they are directly going through Java. They are directly taking up Java as a language. Of course, it is object oriented. Of course, Java is a very powerful language. No denying the fact. But still then, C++, maybe you'll face somewhere. As I said, C++ standard template library, I said. Let me tell you, it's a very useful, what do you say, option, standard template library. It's a very useful thing. Okay, learning C++, going through C++, I'll tell you those object-oriented things. I'll walk you through those object-oriented features, of course with examples, of course with illustrations. Okay, don't worry about that, don't bother about that. As I said, standard template library. Standard template library I'll be covering thoroughly. I'll be doing it thoroughly. All right, part by part in various videos. All right, so those are things we'll take up. And then subject wise, if I take up subjects C, C++, after C and C++, it will not be completed. It cannot be completed because we'll be discussing more complicated examples. We'll be discussing more complicated, what do you say, programs. We'll be learning how to handle parts of a project. Those are things we'll be doing. No denying. But let me tell you one thing. As I said, apart from C and C++, two subjects which are important. They are operating systems, of course, but they are important since they have tremendous programming features. Okay, guess it. Which operating systems? Windows? No. It will not allow you beyond, the certain label. It will not allow you to program beyond certain label. It will not allow you to go beyond certain label. So Windows, there is something called hardware abstraction layer. Beyond that, it will not allow you. So how can you write a program? How can you write a program to ask the operating system to do something for you? Not possible. I'll be taking up first Unix, an operating system which is used, an operating system which is really powerful. I'll just give you a small example how powerful Unix is. In old days, they used to have monitors, big monitors. All right. Want to increase the brightness? No button is available. No button is available to increase or decrease like you are doing now. What you are doing? You are simply turning on one of those switches on or off. And nowadays it's not even switches. I use my mouse. I go to the brightness setting. I increase or decrease the brightness. That's it. That easy it is. But wait. In old days it was not there. There is no button to increase the brightness. I thought I will increase the brightness of my monitor. How to do it? Very simple. Very simple. Open the backside of that monitor. It's a big one. It's a big one. Open the backside. There will be knobs. If you know it, of course. And don't risk doing it if you don't know it. Okay. Open. There will be a knob to increase the brightness or decrease the brightness. Use it. Increase or decrease the brightness. That's how easy it is, isn't it? So now what happened is Unix was the first operating system, just imagine 70s. I'm talking about 70s. Unix was the first OS which introduced a concept of a device as a file. What is it? Very simple. Your monitor is a file. What is the advantage? If I have a monitor as a file, how will it help me? Very simple. Open the file. You want to increase the brightness. It is written there brightness is equal to 70. Change the value. Brightness equal to 85. Change the value. Save the file. Brightness is changed. Of course, apply it. Just imagine. Just imagine. That's how powerful Unix is. Alright. Unix, of course, and Linux. Unix is closed source. Nowadays, a part of Unix is open. A part of it, not the entire Unix. Linux is open source. It's simply powerful. Simply powerful. I'll tell you what, in my next video, I'll talk a bit about Linux. Okay, it will be based on Linux because some of you requested for it. Some of you asked me to upload a video about Linux, intro to Linux. So let's do it. Okay. As I said, these couple of videos, please bear with me for the sound problem, for the picture quality, whatever it is. So that is how it is. We'll go through Unix, we'll go through Linux parallelly because both of them are almost same with bits of difference. And of course, in Unix and Linux, you use a editor to write programs, editor to write, something called scripts. That is called VI editor. In Linux, the improved version is present. It is called Vim, VI improved. In Unix, it is the old VI editor which is present. When I give you the introduction of Linux in the next video, I'll tell you how exactly and what exactly is the difference between this VI and Vim. Both of them are same. Remember, as I said, VI improved. Of course, when you hear the word improved, that simply means improvements has been taken up. I mean implemented. Of course, they are there. When I tell you, when I describe it to you, you will understand automatically. Anyway, we'll take up Unix and Linux. Apart from that, I'll take up some of the very recent and rare concepts which are going around. Okay, I'll just give you one example. So many things are there, so many concepts are there. I'll discuss all those concepts with you, but just one example for you. Just think of something called data centers. I know, so many of you will be aware of this data centers. Okay, what are they? Let's take up the example of Google. Just imagine in a single day how many times you go for a Google search on an average, or how many people, as per that matter, throughout the world. Now, what happens when you start typing a word? Google starts suggesting, are you searching for this? Are you searching for that? How do they do that? What they do, anytime you go for a search, they save the context of that search. Next time, based on that context, they suggest you. So how they are doing it? And how come never the Google server is down? Will you ever find the Google server to be down? Have you ever noticed this? Have you ever witnessed this? No. Then how come? How is it? How is it possible? Simple. All over the world, Google has its servers placed across continents, across countries. Google servers are present, and they are present in a way. The arrangement is in a way that one server is down, that server you are trying to connect to. If it is down, automatically it will switch you to another server. So zero downtime when it comes to Google server. And apart from that, Google is saving all the data for you. The search context, what you search for, the search pages, everything, every single thing is saved somewhere. And that is when these data centers come into, picture. They are huge data centers. Google has its own data centers. If you go through internet, you will find Google has its data centers spread across many. Of course, mainly in the USA, but outside USA also. And they consume huge amount of power because those are mainframes, those are supercomputers sometimes, those are very high-end systems which are installed across all these data centers. So we'll take up data centers as a topic, we'll take up power consumption as a topic, and we'll say how to minimize this power consumption. This of course is something which is technical know-how, you can say. You might be interested in it, it might be knowing how to optimize power consumption. And of course we'll also talk about power grids, from where you get power for your home, for your office, how these power grids are managed through computers, what exactly is a smart power grid, a smart meter, concepts like this. Some of you might be knowing, I don't deny the fact, but still then we can take it up for the masses, for all of us. All right. So that's it, friends. This was, as I said, these were just these 2 or 3 videos. Please bear with me for the picture quality, for the sound disturbance, whatever it is. I promise you one thing: within the next few days, the entire setup will be complete. Then we can have smooth, pictures and videos without any background noise or sound. All right. Take care till that time, and please, it's my request to all of you, please subscribe to my channel. As I said in the beginning, I said the channel name will be Technically Vishwa. So the link I will be sharing on Facebook. Please go through it. Please subscribe. Please share it with your friends, uh, so that they can take the benefit from this. Thank you all.